everyone, my name is Han. I will be your lecturer for Logistics and Supply Chain Management course this semester. Before we start our lessons, let's take a look at the course syllabus. So after this course, you should be able to understand the difference between logistics and supply chain and understand the concept and key points of supply chain management. The course assessment detail, we will have one midterm exam that takes 30% of the overall score. You will have quiz in the class and a group project. Quiz and group project will take 30%. And beside that, quiz will take 30% and group will take 70%. But this number will be adjusted based on your ability to do the quiz or the group project. But total is 30% of overall score. And the final exam will be 40% of the overall score. Both midterm and final exam will be open book. And now let's go to the textbook. The main textbook I use for this course is Logistics: An Introduction to Supply Chain Management of Donald Water. You can borrow this book from the library in our university. And here I also offer you some reference books and other sites or journals. You can read some article related to supply chain management. And here is our course outline. First, in the first lesson, we will learn the fundamental of logistics and supply chain management. Here you know the definition of logistics and supply chain and what is the role of them. In the second week and third week, we will learn about locating facilities. And next 2 weeks, we will learn about planning resources. And next, in week 6 and week 7, we will learn about controlling material flow. After that, we will have the midterm exam. And after midterm exam, we will learn about inventory management. In week 9 and week 10, in week 11 and week 12, we will learn about warehouse and material handling. In week 13, we will learn about transportation, how many types of transportation we can use and how can you manage the transportation. And finally is the global logistics. In 1 week before the final exam, you will have project presentation. And in the last week is final exam. Okay, if you have any question, please feel free to email me via this email or find me in the office room 02602. Today I will introduce you the overall of logistics and supply chain management. Our lesson today we have two parts. The first one is supply chain and the second is logistics. So what is supply chain? First, let's go through this process. I give you an example. I want to cook a meal. So, for example, I want to cook the fish with tomato sauce. So, what I need to have before I cook? I need to buy tomatoes. I need to buy fish, oil. I need also have a cooker and myself, right, the human who cook. So those things are inputs. That is those things we need and put it in a process to make a product. So the process, I cook, I put the fish inside in the pan and put oil, blah blah. That is operations. So after cooking, my output is the dish, the cooked fish and tomato sauce, right? So it's the same for inputs, operations, and outputs. So the main outputs are products. In operation include like manufacture, serve, supply, transport, sell, train. It's same as when we cook. When we mix, we add, then we serve to the customer who eat. Okay. So we have the process inputs, then operation, then we will have outputs. So our products, the outputs are products, and we have main type products that are goods and service. Goods is tangible and service is intangible. Tangible is something that you can touch, but intangible is something you cannot touch. Okay? And here you can see the chain from supplier to customer. Let's go back the example that I cook the fish and tomato sauce, but I'm not cooking at home, but I'm cooking in the restaurant. So I have to buy the raw material like tomato sauce, tomato, fish, and oil from the supplier, right? Then I cook in my restaurant, then after that I serve to the customer. So that one is a supply chain from supplier to the end user. So we can the material flow will be from the supplier to the end user, and from end user, from the customer to supplier, is the information flow and the cash flow. The customer have to pay money, right? Okay. Here from we will take a look at the supply chain of our manufacturer. So here we can see a manufacturer. Here we have downstream activities. Downstream activity is those activity from manufacturer to the customer, and upstream activities is the activities from the supplier to manufacturer. So we have the first tier supplier is the supplier that directly deliver their products, their materials to the manufacturer. And the next one is the second tier supplier. Second tier supplier is the person who provide the material, the component for the first tier suppliers. So on and so forth, we will have n tier suppliers. Okay. So for example, the third tier supplier is the materials suppliers. Then the second tier supplier is the component makers, and the first tier supplier is sub-assembly provider. Then after that, they will deliver the sub-assembly products to the manufacturer. Then manufacturer will operate and finish and make the finished products, and after that they deliver the finished products to the first tier customer that are wholesalers. First tier customer are the customer who receive the products directly from manufacturer. Then first tier customer will deliver the products to the second tier customer, and from the second tier customer they will deliver products to the third tier customer. Example: first tier customer are wholesalers. Wholesalers will buy product directly from the manufacturer, then in bulk in the large quantity. Then after that they separate it in smaller quantity, then they sell to retailer. And retailer will sell to the third tier customer, that is the end user. What is supply chain management? Supply chain management is the process of planning, organizing, directing, and controlling flows of materials, information, and money. Remember, the material flows is from the supplier to the customer, and the information and money flows is from the customer back to suppliers. And the objective of managing supply chain is to produce and distribute the products at the same time, at the right quantity, to the right place, at the right time. So remember this as when we book the Grab food. So when we book the Grab food, the Grab driver has to buy the right quantity that you already booked in the app and deliver it to your house, to the right place, not other house, and at the right time. Like you wait in 15 or 20 minutes, but not too long, because no customer want to wait for a long time, right? And they try to minimize the total cost while still satisfy the requirement of the customer. So what kind of decision we have to make when we manage the supply chain? The first one, when we design the supply chain, we decide if we should outsource or we should just produce in-house. Second, we decide the location of each node, like where is the distribution, where we should put the manufacturer, where we should put the uh, retailer, distribution center, or warehouse, and the capacity of production. And also we decide what kind of transportation we should use to deliver the products, and the routing, the distribution network, and supply chain strategy. These are design is for a few years, is a plan for a few years, like long-term plan. Then supply planning is the plan for shorter time, maybe between a quarter of year or 1 year. So here you have to forecast the demand, so that you will have a better production plan, or you also decide the policy for inventory, decide inventory level, and also the when you should have promotion, the marketing strategy. And the next one is supply chain operation. This one is for short term, only short term. You allocate inventory, production, so decide how to select supplier or select the transportation route. We have some challenges in supply chain management. First is customer service. Managing a supply chain well means that we have to deliver right products, right quantity, also ensure the quality to the right place at the right time with lowest cost to maximize profit. And the second one is the cost control, because the operating cost of supply chain is increasing nowadays, like transportation cost, labor cost, material cost, so that the manager of supply chain need to control the key factor that affect the total cost of supply chain so that we can minimize the cost. The third one is planning and risk management. So we have to manage the risk by auditing the supply chain periodically, like maybe month by month, 3 month by 3 month. Then we have to reorganize or redesign the supply chain so that we can improve the supply chain. Then we can optimize the supply chain. Okay, and the fourth one is we have to manage the supply relationship. For example, I need 100, let's say 1,000 products, and my competitor also need 1,000 products. However, the supplier only have 1,000 products. So who they will sell products to? So if we have closer relationship to the suppliers, we can get that product. They might put us on priority, so we win over the competitor. So it's really important to keep a closer and strengthen our relationship with our supplier. And it's based on two things. The first one is the trust. We have to trust each other. And the second one is the common target. We trust each other. We strengthen our relationship to achieve the common target, our target and also supplier target. We also have challenges in recruiting talents. So humans is very important key in supply chain, so that recruiting and training people are very important for supply chain management. We just talked about supply chain. How about logistics? What is logistics? Logistics is the process of planning, implementing, and controlling the efficient, effective flow and storage of goods, service, and related information from point of origin to point of consumption for the purpose of conforming to customer requirement. So what is effective and efficient? Efficient means do things right. Efficient means do things right, and effective means do right thing. So what is the role of logistics? We can look at the figure here. We have inbound logistics, outbound logistics, and the operations within the organization. So inbound logistics is the activity between the external suppliers and the organization. Outbound logistics is or the activities between the external customer and the organization, and activities between the internal supplier and internal customer we call it operations or material management. So from external supplier, from external customer, we do the logistics. I give you one example. For example, people from purchasing department and operation department. So operation department, the staff in operation department want to buy an equipment for their production. So they will order the products to the purchaser. Then the purchaser will find supplier and buy it from other company. So other company is external supplier, but purchasing department is operation department supplier. So inside your company, we also have supplier and customer. And customer of the purchasing department is other department. Okay. So please distinguish for me the inbound logistic, outbound logistic, and internal and external supplier, internal customer, external customer. You have to know who is your customer so that you can satisfy them. Okay, let's look at I will give you some time to watch this video.
Is actually the elements
So
of the whole supply
you
chain.
can see the difference between logistics and supply chain. See, logistics is actually the element of the whole supply chain.
Of the whole supply chain. You know, supply chain meaning from raw materials to a toy a child plays with somewhere in the world. How do you get that process completed? And logistics is the elements within that, and there's many factors that come into it.
It is a trend seen more and more in logistics. 6 years ago, this company was a simple warehousing firm. Its managing director says that narrow focus ceased to be viable. It spurred a billion-dollar transformation of the company from a landlord to a service provider.
We see a bleak future for pure warehousing due to oversupply. It's no longer manufacturing in Hong Kong. So the demand for raw material storage or storage of finished goods is not there. And these customers actually wanted us to do more. Rather than just storage, how about land transport, how about repackaging, how about price tagging and so on.
They are even considering cooking the rice they deliver to a local fast food chain. The chain will pay extra for the service, earning the company a higher margin as opposed to just plunking a sack of rice on the doorstep. Here, quality control is included with the services offered. It takes a huge amount of computer hardware and software development to do the job. That has made the industry here smarter and more productive, and exportable.
Hong Kong is probably one of the best in the world in terms of honesty, in terms of speed of work and hard work and smart work. But when we go into other places, including China, we actually have to start almost from scratch in terms of finding proper facilities and training staff. So we often use Hong Kong people to go there and train the staff.
All these manufacturers are in China, and when they seek for, say, improvement in the logistic-related issues, they will try to locate all these consultants in Hong Kong.
The expansion of the supply chain and distribution end of the logistics trade is the growth story of the industry. But on the purely physical side, where stuff is moved from point to point, on land and on sea, the industry has some problems. We may nod off at the very mention of the word logistics, but keep in mind, as you sleep, it's a fifth of the Hong Kong economy. But the dream of remaining a logistics hub could turn into a nightmare if relentless competitive pressures are not addressed. Well, what is the most pressing challenge today facing the industry?
Definitely competition.
The city's air cargo hub still enjoys vast superiority over regional competitors, but the shipping terminals aren't so lucky. While the industry continues to grow by about 4% a year, it's a far cry from the double-digit growth it used to enjoy. Our terminals will handle 23 million of these containers in 2006. Each one from China costs $200 more to ship from here compared to a container going straight out from the mainland. That pricing pressure is squeezing what was once a thriving trade of acting as the port and air hub for the mainland. China has spent handsomely on infrastructure, but luckily for Hong Kong, there are still factors that keep our port busy.
We are living on China's inefficiency. With the SAR status, we are not exactly part of China. There are hurdles at the border. So if we want to continue to service China, particularly South China, we must ensure there's a very smooth flow of goods in and out. And that means good connectivity. And that is something we can do.
The new Hong Kong-Shenzhen Western Corridor should flatten some of the kinks in the flow of goods into Hong Kong. But still, on the cost side, even the industry's lobby group in Hong Kong believes there should be more price competition at Hong Kong's container terminals to reduce the terminal handling charge, or THC.
The four operators in Hong Kong, the terminals, are charging the same rate, same THC. So if it is an open market, why they charge all the same? These parties try to avoid, discussing these issues for the last few years. This is the question we always ask. We always, request the government to tap on this issue.
The market is not opened.
Not open enough.
Not enough.
I see. Okay. So you'd like to see more competition?
Yeah, just like the telecommunication business.
Oh, that's
When
very
it-
competitive.
When it opened it up, it's very competitive.
A range of things we can do.
The chairman of the Logistics Development Council, the permanent secretary for economic development, says charges are a free market issue.
Hong Kong has always been a privately driven.
Okay, so via the video that we just watched earlier, we can see at first they are just a warehouse, but since customer want more service, so they offer more service like deliver goods or put on the price tag, so on and so forth. So all in all, logistics is just an element of supply chain, and the main goal of logistics is to help the flow of goods in and out smoothly, and also achieve the high customer satisfaction about right time, right quality, right quantity with low or acceptable cost. You can see what kind of activities in logistics. We do procurement in wet transport, then receiving from the supplier. Supplier will deliver the products to the organization, then organization will receive the products, then they put in a warehouse to stock. Then here is the step for material handlings. Then after that, after they receive their the orders from the customer, they will pick the orders, then deliver the products to the end user. You can also look at the case studies about Nike Logistics Center or the UPS Cargo Container Works to see how important logistics is Let's look at the an indicator that ROA, return on an asset, is equal to the profit earned divided by the asset employed. Let's go to the profit first. We can see the profit is from three different sources: that's sale, profit margin, and price. And the sale, it depends on the customer satisfaction, and logistics help us to reach higher level customer satisfaction. That's why help us increase sale. And when the sale increase, we increase the profit. And also the operating cost, the logistics help us to reduce the operating cost. When the operating cost reduce, we have higher profit margin, and higher profit margin will help us have higher profit. So in production part, we try to improve the product features so that we can improve the price. We can increase the price. And when the price increase, the profit will increase. So the logistics help us to improve the profit. How about asset? We have two group of assets: the current asset and the fixed asset. Fixed asset is like long-term asset, like equipment, plant, buildings, property. Current asset is short-term asset, like stock or money. Let's look at this example. We have ABC currently has sales of $20 million per year with a stock level of 35% of sales. And the annual holding cost for the stock is 20% of value. Operating costs are $8 million per year, and other assets are valued at $15 million. What is the current return on assets? How does this change if stock levels are reduced to 25% of sales? So first, we will separate which one is profit and which one is asset. Okay? So we have the cost. We calculate the cost. The cost of stock will be equal to the stock times the holding cost. So we have their stock level is 35% of sale. So we have the stock is 35% times 20 times 20%. So we have the holding cost for the stock. Okay, so the first one is the holding cost of the stock. Then we have the total cost is equal to the operating cost plus the holding cost. So we have 20 times 35% times 20% plus 8. So we have the total cost is 9.4 million per year. So we can calculate the profit is equal to the sale minus the total cost. Total cost here is 9.4 million, and the sale we have is 20 million per year. So we have the profit is 10.6 million per year. So we finish with the profit. Now let's calculate their total asset. So total asset will equal to the fixed asset plus current asset. So here we have other asset is 15 millions, and we have stock is 35% of sale. Okay, so we have 22 millions. So we can calculate the return on asset is equal to profit divided by the total asset, and we have 48.18%. Okay, the second case, how it change if the stock level are reduced to 25. So in test of 35 here, the stock level is 25%. So the same, we just calculate the holding cost of the stock, then total cost, but just replace 35% by 25%. So we also have the holding cost of the stock, that is 25% of sale times the holding cost per stock. So we have 1 million, and the total cost is equal to the holding cost plus the operating cost. And we calculate the profit is equal to the sale minus the total cost. We have 11 million per year. Total asset is equal to other asset plus the stock. So we can calculate the new return on asset is 55%. That is higher than the first case, the current position. Okay. So if we can do logistics better, we can reduce the cost, we can increase the return on asset or increase the profit. Okay, we can see current trends in logistics. So some challenges when we use logistics. Earlier when we watched the video, the most challenges of logistics is competition. Okay, so that is the first one here, the chain of competition, the chain of customers, and the visibility of delivery, and also the how to control their transaction. And we want to improve the communication. So we can use like electronic data interchange or electronic point of sales data, or we use barcoding or RFID or QR code. Or we also want to improve the customer service, that a lower lead time. Lead time is the waiting time. And we customize mass, like do the customization for a large company for many service. We also have other significant tendencies like globalization or outsourcing. We decide should we outsource, we make, or we do in-house production. Current theme of logistics, we focus on lean logistics, that is faster delivery, reduce the stock levels, reduce the handling, lower cost, reduce waste, so on and so forth. Make everything lean. The second one is agile logistics, that is flexible, responsive, customized service, and respond quickly to a changing demand. And the next one is integration logistics, that it will cooperate with other organizations. So ideally, logistics should aim for three of these: lean, agile, and integration logistics. In the next lesson, we will learn more detail about how to locate the facility, how to control their material flow. So after this lesson, after the lesson today, please remember for me the difference between supply chain and logistics. What are they and how important it is? Okay, that's it for today. Thank you.